Okay, so let's get going. I want to confirm that you guys are looking at a PowerPoint slide right now, correct? Okay, great. Okay, so good morning. My name is Catherine DePasqua, and I am an operations and budget analyst in the county administrator's office, and I'm also the program manager for our Clean Commute program. So today I'm going to give you an overview of the two new incentive programs that we're offering and kind of walk you through both on how to participate because it's a little different for both. And I'm going to try to go through these slides relatively quickly so that there's time at the end for people's questions. And I'm recording this session, and the plan is to post it online too. So you have the ability to go back to it if you ever need a reference. So during the first round of strategic plan funding awards, the board allocated $150,000 of funding to start a pilot employee incentive program. And this is to encourage the use of alternative forms of transportation to commute to work. So there's two ways to participate in the program. The first is the bus, carpool, bike, and walk incentive. So for this one, it's a taxable lump sum payment of $240 if you take the bus, carpool, bike, or walk to work at least 48 days within a 6-month period. Those 48 days can be achieved through a combination of any of those 4 modes. There's a couple things to note. Telework is not an eligible mode for this incentive. And also for this program, carpooling is defined as 2 or more people where at least one person is a county employee commuting to a work site in a vehicle. So carpooling with members of your household aren't eligible, things like dropping your kids off or dropping your partner off, unless you guys are both county employees traveling to work together, in which case that would be eligible. The way we're going to confirm eligibility and track who is meeting this criteria will be on the online trip tracker. And in the next few slides, I'm going to walk you through how to enter those trips. And these lump sum payments will go out twice a year in your paycheck for a maximum of $480 per year per employee. And then, so basically you will use the online trip tracker to log your qualifying modes of transportation. And then at the end of each 6-month reporting period, I'll be running a report out of the trip tracker and providing it to payroll. And then payroll will be the ones who will be issuing the payments directly to you. The 6-month reporting periods are January through June and July through December. So we'll dive into the online trip tracker in a second, but I'm going to go through the other option too. So the second option to participate is, oh, I see chat. Let's see if we should, is there a way on round trip, one way? Okay, so going back to my last slide on the bus, carpool, bike, and walk. So one trip is 1 day. So it's 48 days, not 48 trips. So say you're taking your bike to a bus stop and then say you're carpooling back, even though that's 3 separate modes within 1 day, that still only counts as 1 day towards the 48. So the second program for the incentive is My Commuter Check purchase subsidy. So My Commuter Check is a third-party administrator that manages our pre-tax transit benefit program. So the county will match purchases made through My Commuter Check for up to $40 per month. So this includes purchases of smart passes, e-cash, or any other kind of Clipper product. This incentive can't be combined with the other incentive program, even if the monthly match through your My Commuter Check purchases is below $40. So purchases made through My Commuter Check will automatically receive a subsidy each month of up to $40. The county's match will be deducted from the pre-tax amount that gets taken out of your paycheck. So then the total value of the purchase will be added to your Clipper card. So let me break that down so it's a little less confusing. So if you go into My Commuter Check and you are buying a smart 31-day pass, which costs $135, the county will contribute $40 towards that pass, and your paycheck will be deducted for that remaining $95. So, and then that full pass will get loaded on to your Clipper card. The purchases, anything below $80 will only receive half the value in county subsidy. So if you are putting $40 of e-cash on a Clipper card, the county will contribute $20 towards that 40, and then your paycheck will be deducted for that remaining 20. If you are looking to get $40 of subsidy each month through this program, you'll be needing to put at least $80 of transit products on your Clipper card each month to get the full 40. The other thing to keep in mind with this, and we'll go through it later, is that the elections for transit purchases are due by the 10th of each month for the following benefit month. So if you are looking to participate in March, you will need to make your elections by February 10th. And we'll go through this more. So going back to the bus, carpool, bike, and walk incentive. So first I'm going to walk you through how to participate in that incentive option and how to use the online trip tracker. So we'll go through those first, and then we'll swing back to how do you sign up with My Commuter Check. And then there'll be a section at the end where I'll stop sharing my screen and we can go to questions. I'm seeing a chat. Going back to carpool, what if you're a driver in carpool and your passenger is only with you for the morning and you have another on the way home? Would that still count as a day? Yes, that would. And going back to Ben just asked again about carpool to work and home, going back to what I said earlier. So it's counted by days, not necessarily individual trips. So round trips are still counted towards one of the 48, even if you use multiple modes to get there. So again, this presentation will get posted online so you have access to all of it. But going back to the bus, carpool, bike, and walk incentive, in order for us to track that you're eligible to receive this, you must be tracking your trips on the online trip tracker. So below are some important links to just keep and maybe favorite. The first is to the trip tracker itself. And then we have some step-by-step instructions with some images that kind of make it a little easier. And then also some FAQs, stuff like the questions that we were just asking are on there too. So when you go to the trip tracker itself, you'll need to register for an account first. So this is where this red arrow is. You'll select register. We have the FAQs posted online on the Clean Commute website, but also if you need to have quick access to it, if you go to this blue button right here, how to use the Sonoma County's employee trip tracker, this will also send you to the instructions. So the first step in creating your account in Trip Tracker is this box up here. You'll enter your first and last name and your county email address. It will need to be your county email address. It won't accept any other domains, and you'll create a password. The second step, and this has tripped people up, so you'll enter your home zip code and your work zip code, and you'll need to select two networks. The first is your department, and the second is your work location. This is how we're going to help organize you guys, and for data tracking later, we need to know which department you're in and which county location you're in. So these are pre-populated locations. So the options that you would be picking are Airport, Chanate, County Center, Downtown Santa Rosa, Los Guilacos, Petaluma, Spring Lake, the Lakes, Neotomas, and other. If you aren't in any of those locations, you would just pick other, and that is totally okay. So just remember, if you're having trouble with this step, it's usually because you're either picking 2 locations or 2 departments or not enough, and it won't let you move on to the next phase without it. So once you've selected these 2, you'll get an email from Right Amigos where you'll have to confirm your email address. But once you've done all that, you've created your account and you'll be able to have access to a dashboard. So I had tried hard to make this so this wouldn't be an extra step for you guys, but with limitations of the system, in order to start tracking your guys's trips that are eligible for this incentive, I'll need you to basically join the incentive program. So once you first created your account, on your home page, right at the very top, you'll see a box that says click to join the incentive and track your progress. Click on that button. And step 2 is it'll bring you to this page with basically all the information that's available on the website about the incentive program and what's eligible and the time frame. And you would just click this green button on the bottom that says join program. So once you do that, you don't have to do anything else. It's just tracking in the back end, and I'll be able to see all the results too. So you've created an account and now you've joined the incentive. And so the next thing is you have to start logging your trips. So in order to log a trip, you go to your calendar, which is right at the top left of your dashboard on your online trip tracker. And you're going to select whatever the dates are that you took the bus or you carpooled or you walked to work. And so when you pick dates, they'll be highlighted in blue, as you'll see there on the 9th, the 11th, and the 13th. And in the right of that box, you'll enter your start and destination, your departure and return times, and then at the bottom right, you'll do the drop-down menu to select your mode of travel. You'll see the options there. Once you've selected all of those, at the bottom right, there'll be a green box that says log these trips. You click that and those blue dots will turn green, and those are logged trips that are entered into the system, and then you don't need to worry about them again. There are a couple things to keep in mind when you're logging trips. So the first is your distance box and the calculation for your greenhouse gas emission reductions are automatic calculations in the back end. We don't have the ability to manipulate those. You also have the ability to create a favorite trip so that you don't have to keep entering start and destinations. Like if you have a regular commute, you can just add that in so that it just autofills. And then really once you're redoing trips in the future, it's a very quick, like it'll take you a minute to log those trips because basically all the data will already be entered and all you'll have to do is click the dates. There have been some concerns about, personal data on this system. And for those who are not comfortable with having their home addresses listed, you can always put your cross street or your home city with the zip code if you don't want to have that close of personal information. That is totally acceptable. We just want to remind you that the closest to your start location as you are comfortable putting in the system, the better, because then that provides more accurate data for us in the back end. So I'm going to pause because I'm seeing 2 things in chat. Is it possible to log 3 days at once if the modes and times are the same? Yes, absolutely, which is what makes this go through pretty quickly. Personally, I can, I'll do this when I do my time card, is I'll just do the 2 weeks of my time card and I'll just go in and fill my trip tracker at the same time. Then that way it's easier for me to remember to do it that way. And then another thing to just keep in mind with this too is the system will not let you put any trips in the system that are older than 5 weeks old. And this is just to ensure that there's some data accuracy. So the more regularly you could be putting things in the system, the better, but you can absolutely do batch entries. And going back, so just to transition to the next incentive mode. So you'll see train is an incentive mode that is listed, or an incentive mode, a mode of travel that's listed in the drop-down menu, but you're not seeing it listed in the bus, carpool, bike, and walk incentive. And the reason why is because 99% of folks who are taking the train are using Clipper cards through our pre-tax My Commuter Check purchase program. So that is why it's not getting conflated with the other incentive program, because we can't, the way we are paying out the My Commuter Check subsidy is very different than the way we're paying out the bus, carpool, bike, and walk, because one's on your paycheck and one gets loaded onto a Clipper card. So that's why you're not seeing train included in the first option, and it's why there's such a separation with the second incentive option. So moving on to the train component of the incentive options. So the IRS lets any employee use up to $300 a month of pre-tax payroll for transit costs through employer-sponsored programs. The Clean Commute program is an employee-sponsored program, so it's fully eligible. The program to set aside pre-tax payroll for transit costs is available to full-time and part-time county employees. You just have to be a permanent county employee. Extra help are not eligible. Another thing to keep in mind is to use My Commuter Check, there is a $3 fee for each order. That $3 fee just gets added on to the amount, and you'll see in these next slides how that'll work, but that's also pre-tax eligible. So signing up with My Commuter Check, here is the link to sign up. This link is also on the online trip tracker. On the right-hand side, you'll see it. You'll also find it on the pre-tax benefit page of the Clean Commute website. So this link is in a lot of places, and I saw a request to throw these links in the chat. I absolutely can do that too. So the things you'll need to create an account with My Commuter Check are the company ID, which is listed here. It's also on the website and on the trip tracker, and some basic demographic info like your name and your zip code. You'll also need an email address and a mailing address. So as I mentioned before, because this is pre-tax dollars connected to payroll, your orders are due in advance by the 10th of each month for the following month of benefits. So the due date for February benefits would be January 10th, which is already passed. So the next month that, if you are interested in participating, would be you would need to get your orders in by February 10th. And then whatever order you make would be available on your Clipper card by March 1st. So payroll deductions will typically occur in the second pay period of the month, and it'll be for the full election amount. So say you are buying a Smart 31-day pass, that full $135, well, minus the county subsidy of $40. So the full $95 will get taken out of your paycheck in one payment. They won't be split out between multiple checks. So once you've signed up for an account with My Commuter Check, you'll need to have a registered Clipper card in order to make any purchases. So if you already have a Clipper card and are familiar, there's a serial number on the back of them. That's what you'll need to add into your account so that My Commuter Check knows which Clipper card to put the product on. If you don't have a Clipper card or aren't familiar with them, we have a few free ones at the HR benefit office. So if you like one, contact HR benefits and we can send you one. And if you need help registering it, just go to clippercard.com and they'll walk you through how to register it. The reason why registering your Clipper card is so important is because we're essentially loading cash onto them. There's a dollar value associated with Clipper cards. And if you ever lose it, if it's a registered card, Clipper can move those products over to a new card for you. So it's important that you keep your information up to date because It sucks when you lose your Clipper card. I have done it. So these next couple of slides just walk you through kind of what the My Commuter Check platform looks like, just to familiarize yourself. So you are new to the system. You're going to go in first and enter your company ID that tells them that you're working for the County of Sonoma. And then, as I mentioned, you're going to enter your first name and your last name and your zip. Based on your first and last name, your county issued email address will auto-populate. We have run into some issues where you are a permanent county employee and you are eligible to participate, but the system isn't showing you, it's not letting you sign in. And that could be that we just haven't updated our employee roster with My Commuter Check yet. So if you're running into that problem, just email triptracker@sonomacounty.org and we'll make sure that the back end gets fixed so that you can create an account. It only usually takes a day or two to fix that. So once you've created an account and confirmed your email, this is what your homepage will look like mostly. So if you're ready to go ahead and make an order, say it's February 10th, then you know exactly what you want to buy. You would go to this left margin and click on place order. And then you'd click on train products because, again, if you're using this system, 99% of you are buying smart train passes to use for it. This system can also buy any Clipper product in the Bay Area. You can use it on Golden Gate Ferry. You can use it on Petaluma Transit, really any transit system in the Bay Area. But for the purpose of this program, we're just seeing that the lion's share of you are just buying smart passes with it, but really you can buy any Clipper product with it. And kind of going back to that, if you're, say, buying a ferry ticket to go to a Giants game and you're using these funds to do it, that's not something that we are going to limit or police. We're, wanting you to use public transportation, and we're supporting you using this program to help you, kind of experiment with kind of Bay Area transit systems. So that's just a little aside. So when you're ready to go ahead and make a purchase, again, you click place order, train products, and then the Smart 31-day pass will just auto show up. And then, so if you're interested in that product, you'd click select. For those of you who don't think that you would be using a full 31 days of Smart Pass, or you just wouldn't use the train that often, you can just add cash onto a Clipper card and just pay per trip. And for some of you, especially if you're going a short range, that ends up being cheaper. So it's a little complicated with the system, so that's why I kind of wrote the instructions down. So if you're wanting to just load eCash, what you're going to do is click on Local Transit Authority, this button right here, and then change right here where it says results per page, change that to 30 and scroll all the way to the bottom of the page and you'll find Clipper eCash. You press on that. So you'll see, if you're kind of in the system, how many transit products are available in the Bay Area that you could be purchasing. So there's Clipper can be used in so many places. So it's a really handy product to have. So say I want to load $100 of eCash on my Clipper card, then I would just add the amount here. I would put the serial number from the back of my Clipper card right here. And then you have the option of either auto renewing the purchase. So if you know you're going to be using this regularly and it's annoying to have to go into the system and do it every month, you can just make it so it's automatic. You can always go back and change that later if you need to. Just know that if you're going to make any changes, it needs to be by the 10th of the month, or else the system will just auto enroll you. And then you'll see here, so it'll say Clipper eCash, it'll be for $100 a month. As a reminder, as I mentioned before, so it'll be the $100 plus the $3 monthly fee, $103, minus $40 of county subsidy. So your Clipper card will be filled with $100. Your paycheck will be deducted $63. The county will pay $40. And with any conversation about public transit and using modes that you might not necessarily be familiar with, it's really important to mention that Sonoma County Transportation Authority has an emergency ride home program for every employee in Sonoma County, not just county employees, but if you work in Sonoma County, you are eligible to receive this. So if you've taken any form of alternative transportation to get to work, carpool, bus, train, whatever, and there's something comes up, your child is sick, your bike gets stolen, your carpool person left early, you end up having to work overtime or your schedule changed, you can get reimbursed for your ride home through taxi or Uber or whatever. There's no restriction on what form of transportation you use to get home. Every Sonoma County employee is eligible to receive 4 of these emergency ride homes a year. And the only qualifiers is that each trip can't be more than $125. And your maximum per year is $50 or $500. So this link here too, and I'll put them all in the chat and I'll post this all online, is really handy to have. It kind of helps you feel a little more secure if you're trying to take the train and worried about what if something happens or the train's late and you need to get home. You can take an Uber home and you can bill SETA for it, which helps me a little bit. So I am going to stop sharing and start opening it up to questions. So let's check the chat first. So yes, I'll put, okay. Okay, those are more just direct to me. So I'll just open up if you want to raise your hand or call out. Let me know if you have any questions. Jeremy.
Hi, Catherine. Thanks for organizing this. So my question is, I generally often carpool with my partner who works at the JC. So she basically drops me off. That doesn't sound like it counts as a carpool for this, but then if I take the bus home, it's like a half trip. Would those half trips add up then? Or are they counted as half trips and then they would count half towards the total of 48 days?
It would not count as half, it would count as a full. If you use the bus, even for a one-way trip, it would count towards 1 day towards the 48.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, we're not trying to make this super complicated or hard to participate. We want to really encourage the use of alternative modes across the board. The reason why there's that qualifier on the carpool is mostly just if you're, it's household and shared expenses. It's just it gets a little muddy, but we want to make it easy for you guys to qualify for the incentive and then also to use it. So.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else? Or are we going to make this the fastest training ever? Okay.
I actually have another question.
Let's hear it.
If there's time. So you're not eligible for both. If you do the train one, you're not eligible for the other one. What if you do the train one for like 1 out of the 6 months? That then means you're not eligible for the 6 months.
Yeah, that's a great question. And the reason why there has to be that differentiation is because the My Commuter Check subsidies are just automatic. The county just adds those automatically. So we don't have a way of splicing them out between months. So say you buy a train pass in March and June, then you would automatically not be eligible for the January through June bus, bike, carpool, walk incentive. But if you don't buy a train pass the rest of the year, then you would be eligible for the other incentive program. And so we have access of seeing who is enrolled in each program every month. So we would be able to see if you're not participating in the My Commuter Check, then, but we are seeing that you have 48 eligible trips in the trip tracker, you would get the lump sum payment. It's just they can't overlap.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. And I see one question in the chat. Where can we find this recording for this session? So once we're done here, I'm going to work with ISD to post it on our Clean Commute webpage, which I will get for you really quickly and put it in the chat. And then that way we will have access to it forever. Sorry for the long URL. There's probably a shorter one that we could do. But so this is the web page. All of the FAQs are on this page. Links to the pre-tax information, links to the My Commuter Check login, the trip tracker login, all of the step-by-step instructions. It is all available here. You can also email trip tracker Sonoma County.org if you have any follow-up questions. I am pretty much the manager of that email, so I will see it and I will respond to you. And if it sometimes takes me a couple days, sorry, but I will get to you. I am seeing it. I see a question from Carol. If I ride my bike every day to work, can I just put my usual work hours, even if I telework in the AM? Yes, absolutely. The times, just, some insider information on the trip tracker. The times for the online trip tracker are very important. It more helps in the back end to see kind of trends for kind of work patterns. It also is useful if folks are trying to find carpools and you have a typical time for going to work and coming home to see if you have compatible commutes. But for the purpose of just logging your trips, not super important. Okay. All right, well, again, feel free to email Trip Tracker anytime if you have more questions or follow up. And I really appreciate your time this morning. And, happy commuting. Good luck. Yay. Thank you, board, for paying for this program. Bye, everyone.